All right, in order to update firmware on the CPE305, first of all, at the software level, you have to stop the controller. Right now, the CPU is powered down, right? But before you power down the CPU, you must use the programming software to go online to the controller, stop the control, stop the PLC, put this PLC in stop mode. And then once PLC is in stop mode, what you have to do is like insert that USB key that contains the CPE305 firmware. Insert to it and get that run stop switch to stop position. Okay, so and then power down the PLC. So now we're gonna like start updating firmware. By doing this, we power it down and hold down the start button. While this start button at the top, it's pressed and holding it down, we're going to power it up to make the CPU drive into the firmware update mode. And we have to wait for the LED. It's still just like flashing right now, but it's not ready yet. Okay, so when the RDSD is flashing red, so right now it's a firmware update mode. So technically we just need to push the start button. So wait for that USB, like it's actually loading that firmware from the USB key. And then we will have to wait. Okay, seems like firmware update is complete. So I think the CPU is actually restarting right now. You can tell by the based on the LED. Still booting it up. Okay, so okay, LED light, it's solid green. Everything is solid green, so CPU is actually in the boot up mode. I personally it's my personal preference. I would also do an extra power cycle to make sure that CPU come back in a like standard mode. Okay, power it down and power it back up. At this point, we can actually remove the USB stick. Doesn't have to be in here. Okay, again, right? CPU OK LED light in solid green. That means like CPU it's in an operation mode, right? Okay, we're going to toggle the switch in the run stop switch back to run mode enable. So now we're going back into our computer, look at our software to double check the firmware on the CPU. Okay, let's take a look at that. You can pause it now. Okay.